So should I start? Good morning to everyone from IIIT Lucknow. It's a pleasure for us to welcome you to another session of Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to welcome you back to Equinox Global Conclave by IIIT Lucknow. We are delighted to announce that we have amongst us the directors of IIIT Lucknow and IIT Hyderabad. First of all, I would like to welcome Professor Mohan Cherry, the director of IIIT Lucknow, to come and address the gathering. Thank you, sir, for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, any opening message that you would like to give to the students who are watching?
Today we have Professor B.S. Murthy, a renowned scientist, renowned academician, and I know he is a very busy person. He is handling, IIT Hyderabad. Apart from that, he has additional responsibility of IIIT Raichur. He's the mentor director of IIIT Raichur. So he is very much familiar with the problems which all of us are facing at IIIT system. And apart from that, he is very much involved in so many research projects, and especially related with this COVID pandemic. So there are multiple research projects that are going on at IIT Hyderabad under the leadership of Professor Murthy. So he is doing excellent job, and I am really happy that his schedule is very, very tight, and still he accepted your invitation to address our students and the students from other colleges. Thank you, Professor Murthy.
Thank you, Professor Sherry. Thank you very much. We are all for students. When students ask something, we never say no. So the teacher in you can never be taken out, even if you become an administrator.
He is a well-known nanotechnologist, and earlier he was with Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. So he is a well-known personality in the nanotechnology area.
Thank you.
So I'm really glad that he is sparing time for us. Thank you, Professor Murthy. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, let's go ahead, Vinam.
Thank you for the warm words, sir. So now to introduce our keynote speaker for today. He was awarded the Shanti Swarup.
I request the introduction to be nano, really. Okay?
Sure.
Please. Thank you.
He was awarded the Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Prize for Science and Technology, the highest science award in India for the year 2007 in the engineering science category. From August 2019, he serves as the director of Indian Institute of Technology, Hyderabad. Prior to that, he was the head of the Department of Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, and a professor at IIT Kharagpur. It's a pleasure to have you, sir, and now over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Vinam. Thank you, Professor Sherry. And thank you, Saksham, who has invited me, and then we are here together. As I always say, all of us contribute a small delta X in this world and be happy with it. And all this comes with a lot of people who have helped you in the growth of science and technology in the country. Long back, when somebody asked Newton, how is that you are able to do great inventions? He made a very profound statement, which always rings in my mind. He said, I'm standing on the shoulders of giants who have come before me, and hence I'm able to see far off. Okay, that's exactly what I feel, each of, particularly because I work in the field of, as Professor Sherry mentioned, in the field of nanotechnology last 30 years. So I understand the value of smallness. So that's where I always believe that each of us are small atoms contributing to this whole world. And in this particular, after I have moved to IIT Hyderabad in last 1 year, I came 1.5 years back and started planning in a big way for the whole institute. And then COVID came, and then we started looking at how do we, learn lessons from this thing and be more positive to contribute rather than feeling bad about it. And in that direction, I feel there is a lot to learn from this pandemic of 1 year. In fact, the fact that we are able to meet like this easily, if it was a physical invitation from Lucknow, I had to think 2-3 times whether I can really make it to Lucknow. Well, I used to regularly go to IIT Kanpur from IIT Madras and Kharagpur earlier, and it takes at least a full day or possibly even 2 days because you need to possibly get connected from Madras to Lucknow. There was very rarely a direct flight. So I had to always go to Delhi first, take another flight to Lucknow, and so on. So whereas this, thanks to this online way of meeting, which used to be there to some extent 1 year back before the pandemic, but then now it has become, as people say, the order of the day. And it has really helped us to be able to reach out to a lot of people. I remember 10 years back when I'm teaching in my class, I'm teaching only to that 50 students who are in my class. And then something called NPTEL came into picture, which many of you possibly are aware. And now an equivalent of that NPTEL is called SWAYAM, which has been brought out by IICTE. NPTEL was where all these IITs and IISc came together and started saying there are quite a number of institutions that have come, a number of private universities which are teaching engineering, but you may not have the best teachers there. So how do we take the good teaching abilities that senior professors at IITs have to the students who are there at these colleges and make them available free of cost to all the students? That is how National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning, NPTEL, came into picture. And then I actually offered 2 such courses, and now I get emails from all corners of the world saying that we have been listening to your lectures and we have learned a lot. And so that means this teacher is able to reach out to students, even not within the country, but also outside the country. And right now, when you people are organizing this particular event, I'm sure there are possibly people even from outside India who must be watching this. And that's the power of the online. And we have been able to possibly, we would not have thought about this very seriously if this pandemic has not come. So I would say it is like a blessing in disguise that we have learned to adapt to this. And India is great in adapting to new things. I do not know whether you remember a few years back, maybe 5 years back, we had this demonetization, that has happened. I remember I was in IIT Madras that time, and within 1 week of this demonetization, an app has come out which tells that which ATM in Chennai has money. So you don't need to go to various ATMs and stand in the queue for the money, and it tells you this particular ATM has money. So you go there directly. So that is the level of, as people say, necessity is the mother of invention. So we are great inventors in that way. Whether you call it as Jugaad that India is famous about, the innovative spirit of Indians is amazing. I've been seeing it everywhere. And in fact, we wanted to take this to a much greater levels in recent times. If you have heard, the government has taken up a big mission recently, talking about, can we take engineering to villages? We have a number of villages. Once in a while, you come up with interesting innovations coming from a person, a farmer, who cannot speak a word in English, but he has brought out some innovation of somehow sowing seeds in his a farm, or possibly taking out the crop, or something or the other. Okay, and people are even going to the extent of doing using drones or spraying the fertilizers and things like that. So when you start seeing this kind of innovative ideas from farmers who are in villages who know only their local language, the only thing that they don't know is engineering principles. Okay, that is where people like us, if we can help, they will be able to bring their innovation to a much greater level. But how do we teach these engineering principles to them? Right now, if you look at it, most of the engineering is taught in English. We are all speaking to each other in English. Okay, so we think that English is possibly the only way that we can go ahead and teach engineering. Unfortunately, because we do not have most of our textbooks. For example, you take an AI book or something on C++ or whatever it is. The best books in all engineering branches, fluid mechanics you take, thermodynamics you take, all these books are all written in English only. Okay, and unfortunately, this guy sitting in this corner of the country has to first learn English, one barrier to cross first, and then learn engineering. Can we take engineering and to the village in the local language? That's the direction in which government is doing a big thing. I'm a part of a governing committee under the chairmanship of IICT chairman, Professor Anand Sahasrabuddhe, where we are trying to see all the NPTEL courses and SWAYAM courses. We are trying to transcribe them into English first. For example, speech to text. All of you know that the current technology that is available can convert a speech to text very easily. So whatever lecture, the 1 hour lecture that I give, let's say in a NPTEL course, and one full course, which means 40 hours of lecture. This 40 hours of lecture, which is available in a video form, if it can be converted into English text, then you have a textbook available now. Now take this English text, okay, check the correctness of it. So we are putting people who are PhD students and young faculty into that, and to check whether this speech to text conversion, whether it has happened properly or whether there are errors there, and correct the errors. And now you have a corrected version, which is an English version. Now use the ML, machine language, to translate this into 8 different languages. Okay. So 8 popularly spoken language. It could be Telugu, which is my mother tongue, Hindi, could be Marathi, it could be Malayalam, it could be Tamil, or Marathi, and so on and so forth, Bengali. So this is being done. Now once it is converted, again there could be errors. So again we are trying to put people who know not only the subject, it could be C++1 course, which is being converted into a Malayalam, let's say. Okay, so you need a person who knows C++, who also knows Malayalam. Okay, so we are trying to catch such people and then ask them to check the validity of the translation. And once that is done, now you have this particular C++ course available in 8 languages as a textbook, more or less. And then use this as subtitles for the NPTEL lecture, let us say, or even go to the extent of even dubbing it, so that when I am speaking thermodynamics in English, a person in Kerala will listen to it in Malayalam. Okay, so now you have everybody in every corner of the country is able to learn thermodynamics, learn fluid mechanics, learn engineering mechanics. Okay, and learn C++ or AI or ML or anything. So this is a great mission, I can tell you. Okay, when we are talking about country going to become a leader in the world, we decided that this is very, very important. Okay, so so what I'm trying to say is, can we ensure that the brilliance that is there in every corner of the country is sharpened through the engineering, which is given in an appropriate form in which he can understand better. Okay, so that is something which is thanks to the technology that is available, thanks to the online forms that are available now, we are able to do. So all this I would attribute again thanks to the COVID to some extent. Again, also a lot of new technologies have emerged out. As Professor Sherry was pointing out, I can say that in the last 1 year, almost 40 different projects, COVID-related projects, IIT Hyderabad has been doing it. And wonderful, starting from some apps. For example, yesterday we had a small felicitation function for the local doctors in the village nearby who came on April 1st to IIT Hyderabad to vaccinate the faculty, staff, their family members. Almost 200 people were vaccinated on the campus. Okay, we wanted to felicitate them. And then when the doctor came, the district medical officer, he was telling, sir, we are using an app which is developed at IIT Hyderabad. Okay, to find out the social distancing that is being maintained by people in Hyderabad, and also wherever when people are trying to find out whether the sufficient number of PPE kits or the masks, all these things are being provided or not. There was an app that was created by our faculty, which is being used by all of them. So starting from apps to the actual masks, to the sanitizer. In fact, on 16th of this month, the Minister of Education, Ramesh Pokhriyal-ji, is going to launch a product which, for example, if you carefully look at it at the back, in my background, you would see certain bottles kept there. Those are all the commercial products that have come out of the research of IIT Hyderabad. These are all wonderful sanitizers which have a life of more than 2 months. You spray it on any surface, you can forget it for 2 months. Okay, that surface is safe. So that is the kind of products that have come out, and including ventilators. We had set up a goal that I should have a ventilator which is less than 1 lakh. Okay, so I have set up that goal to our colleagues, and they started working on it, and we provided all the support that is needed. Now a ventilator is almost on the verge of commercial production. There is a company, a JCB company, has taken up that and commercially started making it. So quite a number of things like this have started happening, and including some vaccines that people are working. Of course, vaccines take a lot of time for people to come up with, because there are so many protocols one has to work on. So what I'm trying to say is there are opportunities everywhere. It's for us to grab these opportunities and see how the India can grow. And we also strongly believe that India can grow, particularly in the field of technology, only when you work together with industry. So at IIT Hyderabad, I can just tell you a few examples of how we are trying to do. We said that if we start going closer and closer to the industry, you can start making the country grow much bigger. The so-called Atmanirbhar Bharat that our Prime Minister Ji is so fond of is only possible when academia and industry work strongly together. For example, we started something called a semester-long internship program. All IITs so far, typically they have only a summer internship, which is 2 months. Okay, and 2 months is too short for any student to learn any exciting things that are happening in the industry, and the industry can get benefited by the brilliance of these students. So we revised the whole curriculum, ensured that in the 6th semester there are no core courses at all in any branch, all branches. And from January to July in the 6th semester, 7 months the student can go to an industry, work in an industry for about 6 months. And this is something which we strongly believe. Already this January, students have gone. This is the first batch that has gone, and year after year, we want to see this growing. And a lot of industries are very much excited about it. We also started what is called industry lectures. Every department has 1 credit course called industry lectures, which is 14 hours of lectures. 14 different industries are brought to give a talk on what is exciting in their particular industry. Technological excitements. Okay, so that students get excited more. Okay, this is open for both BTech and MTech, but it is a mandatory course for all our MTechs. Okay, and one has to attend that course. And this is one way we have been seeing that not only they simply give a lecture, but when you start interacting with them, there is a collaboration that starts happening. We also started making sure that 50% of our MTech projects are industry-defined problems. Okay, every department we have a coordinator who contacts a number of, for example, chemical engineering, electrical engineering, computer science. Okay, they contact the industry people, ask them, do you have a problem which can be solved in 1 month, 1 year? Because our MTech students have one full year of project where there is no coursework at all. So with that, we have been able to ensure large number of projects are taken from the industry. Now 50% of our MTechs, right now currently they are doing it, which are industry-oriented projects. So this is another way where we thought that you can start solving small problems. And I always believe there is a statement that generally people give, what is called nothing succeeds like success. Okay, a small success will be a driving force to a bigger success. Okay, if you start demonstrating small problems being solved by the industry starts running behind you. Okay, and you would be able to see much more vibrancy in this collaboration, and you will see great things happening. We also started thinking, what are the other ways of going closer? We started what are called online MTech for industry people. Anybody who has a BTech first class plus 2 years of industry experience, we say you are eligible for getting an MTech from us. And we said that typically MTech is 2 years. We say that this particular online MTech, we say you can register for 5 years because you are typically busy in your own industry. So as a result, you may not be able to do a large number of courses in one semester. This semester, you may be able to take only one course. Next semester, I want to take 2 or 3 courses. So we give the flexibility to them and say that in 5 years, you have to complete 48 credits, okay, in an online mode. And we teach you in the evening hours. We teach you on Saturdays and Sundays and make this content available somewhere so that you can download and see it later also. And this is a new venture we started in a number of various disciplines. An online MTech has been started. We also started a number of MTech programs which are industry oriented. For example, people are all talking about industry 4.0. Okay, additive manufacturing, for example. We started an MTech in additive manufacturing. We started an MTech in e-waste management. Okay, we started an MTech in sensors. We started an MTech in energy. We started an MTech in smart mobility. Okay, we also started an MTech in what is called medical device innovation, where the students are not only engineers. We have people from design. We have even medical doctors who also join in this program. And all of them go to a hospital in Hyderabad. There is a hospital called Asian Institute of Gastroenterology, IIIG. The chairman of IIIG has helped us to tie up this. So this is a joint program between IIT Hyderabad and IIIG, where the student will spend 4 months inside the hospital and understand the problems of the doctors and the problems of the patients and come up with one problem which he would like to take, he or she. And at the end of the MTech, they come up with a prototype. And that's, so there is no thesis being written. Okay, the prototype is the product of the MTech. And we give an MTech degree based on that prototype that is going to come out. So these are ways by which you encourage innovation. In fact, to the extent that we started even defining IITH as invent and innovate in technology for humanity. So we started renaming IITH. Okay, so that's how, I mean, we started giving funding to our BTech students. Anybody who has an idea, we give 1 lakh, okay, to the student to implement that idea. Okay, this year I have given 10 such projects of 10 lakhs to our students, and they put up a proposal, a small committee looks at it, and funding is given to them. So this is, we have a very strong innovation ecosystem here. We have a minor in entrepreneurship. We have recently started a department of entrepreneurship and management, where we are starting an MTech from this August, an MTech in entrepreneurship, which is a 5-year course where the student gets a BTech in, let's say, mechanical plus an MTech in entrepreneurship. The 5th year will be a project on entrepreneurship. From the 2nd year onwards, every semester, the student does a 2 credits course on entrepreneurship. Like that, in 6 semesters, 12 credits of courses on entrepreneurship the student will do, and 12 credits of courses plus 1 year project on entrepreneurship. That will fetch them an MTech in entrepreneurship plus a BTech in whatever branch they want. Okay, electrical, it could be computer science, it could be anything. So this is another new thing that we have started, which is helping us in a big way. We have also started what is called interdisciplinary center, a center for interdisciplinary programs. Okay, where faculty from different disciplines come together and start a new MTech program or start a new certificate course. We have also started taking 30 PhD students this year, who are called ID PhD students, where a faculty from mechanical and a faculty from, let's say, biotechnology come together and want to guide a PhD student on some topic, which could be biomechanics related project. And we collect all these projects from the faculty. We collected about 50 such projects. We put these projects on our website, ask students to apply for PhD under that program, and 30 PhD students will be selected against each project. Okay, and so that they work together with two guides from two different departments, because I strongly believe that the only way to grow is in a multidisciplinary fashion, because all engineerings have their own boundaries. We need to break these boundaries and start coming together. That is when, because science has no boundaries. It is we who have started creating these boundaries ourselves. We call it as mechanical engineering. We call it as electrical engineering. There is nothing called electrical or mechanical in science. Okay, so that is how we need to start growing together, and we started that in a big way now. We even started, going closer to our strategic, avenues in the country. For example, DRDO. So we started tying up with DRDO. We have a DRDO cell here at IIT Hyderabad. We just got about 20 crores, 19.3 crores from DRDO for various projects that our faculty wanted to do with DRDO. And we have also taken 30 PhD students who will all have one guide from IIT and Hyderabad and one guide from one of the DRDO labs. So they work on one of the DRDO problems, and at the end they submit a thesis related to that, so that we are able to contribute something to the growth of the country for the strategic sector. Okay, so these are all various ways by which you start realizing the need for coming together and working together for the growth. Also, more importantly, I always feel that we have to be locally relevant. This is very important. Every institution, you should not, I mean, typically, I know IIT Madras, typically, everybody in Chennai knows about Anna University more than IIT Madras. Okay. The reason is because you don't go to local to a large extent. You publish papers in international journals and things like that. Your eye is only on global reach out, but not really identifying. So we started a rural development center at IIT Hyderabad. We have also adopted 5 villages nearby. I started giving funding to our faculty. So 10 lakhs each to anybody who has an idea where he wants to implement in one of the villages. So this year we gave 5 such projects, 50 lakhs. Okay. Next year, 2021-22, we want to go to 10 or 15 such projects, where the idea, the only condition is at the end of 2 years, you have to implement the idea in a village and bring a change in the way the villagers live. It could be sanitization, it could be water purification, it could be anything. And a lot of faculty are excited about this, and they started, trying to look at this opportunity and see how we can. So these are just a few avenues that I just thought I will share with you to tell you, if you want to be a global leader, India was a global leader once upon a time. Okay, let's not forget that. I mean, I'm a metallurgist, I can tell you. Whenever I go to Delhi and look at that iron pillar which is standing in the atmosphere, 1500 years it has been standing. We call it as a rustless wonder. Okay, it has never rusted. 1500 years, you put the iron piece in the air for 1 week, that is good enough for it to get rusted. This fellow has been standing there for 1500 years. Okay, and that clearly tells you that the kind of greatness that India had. For example, the steel swords that India used to make between Andhra and Karnataka, it seems, was a place where all this started in India 2000 years back, where they used to call it as ukku. Okay, in Telugu, steel is called ukku. Okay, the foreigners, Europeans started calling it as woods. Go to Google and put WORTZ. You will know. There are poetries people have written about this particular steel. The Alexander the Great was supposed to have used it. The samurais have used this steel, which is such a strong steel that it can cut a helmet into two pieces. And recently somebody took a small piece of it and put it into a high resolution microscope, and they started seeing carbon nanotubes in them. Okay, how did these people 2000 years back knew about what is called carbon nanotube? Possibly it was accidental, or possibly they actually knew a technology by which you can embed carbon wires or carbon nanowires or carbon nanotubes. There is still a controversy whether they are carbon nanowires or carbon nanotubes. But the fact that nanotechnology was known to people 2000 years back in the country, and India was a leader, and giving knowledge to the rest of the world is something which is an amazing thing for us. And for example, when I was a BTech student, everybody told the steel was first made by somebody called 𝐏𝐫𝐸𝐼 in UK. And much later, I came to know it was not 𝐏𝐵𝐸𝐼, but almost 1500 years before 𝐏𝐵𝐸𝐼 was born, India made the steel. And so that was an eye-opener for me. Unfortunately, all our textbooks have been in such a way that we started maybe 400 years of slavery that we went through. We have started becoming almost mentally slaves. So it's time that we start coming out of this, demonstrate what is the strength of India. India has the largest population of young minds, people like Vinam, who are all here. And that strength, if we can utilize, and if that strength together with the strength of the industry that we have, if it can come together. In fact, we started, for your information, a course on Sanskrit at IIT Hyderabad now. We have a credited course on Sanskrit, and my intention is there is so much. Sometime back, I used to work with a Sanskrit scholar, who used to tell me, sir, there is so much of science in some of these slokas that using translation of one sloka, we were able to make some nanoparticles of copper. Okay, he says the whole procedure of how to make nanoparticles is there in the sloka. Of course, I do not understand the Sanskrit very well, though up to my schooling I have studied. But then when he started translating and talking, so for about 10 years we worked on making variety of nanoparticles using that. People call it as Rasa Shastra, for example. So I wanted our great minds that we have in IITs to learn what is that great science and technology treasure that we have in our olden days, ancient days. And the only gateway to that treasure appears to be Sanskrit. Okay? And if we understand Sanskrit not from a religious point of view, but look at it from a scientific point of view and understand what is the science hidden. People wanted to tell lots of things, and they told all that possibly in that language. The only language they knew at that point of time possibly was Sanskrit. Okay, a lot of scientific discoveries are possibly hidden in that. So we are now going to plan about 4 to 5 courses in Sanskrit at different levels, so that by the time you complete the last course, you can read and understand the ancient scriptures. Okay, so that is another direction that IIT Hyderabad we wanted to take, so that we again become, something like Takshashila that we talk about once upon a time, and we had universities like that. I want to see a university where you have people learning modern science like AI and ML, and somebody also learning Vedic mathematics simultaneously, and then see how we can combine these things together and see what great things can come out of such a confluence of ancient and modern knowledge. I'm sure a lot of great things would come as the days go, and I wish all the best to all of you who are trying to learn whatever is available around you, and try to see whatever you have learned to produce it in the form of something, some innovation which the world can use. I feel that's the beauty of young minds, that you can think something different from minds like us. Okay, I remember long back when somebody told me a story about somebody who was given a barometer. Possibly some of you know about this story. Okay, some student who was a 12th standard student given a barometer and asked to measure the height of a 10-storied building. This fellow writes answers such that I will make this barometer, tie it to a rope, make it a pendulum, and from the simple harmonic motion, I will measure it. Or I go to the top of the building and throw it, and from the time that it has taken to reach the bottom, I will measure the height of the building. But he does not write the answer that the teacher was expecting. You remember the movie called Three Idiots? Okay, the machine he wants you to define. So teacher has some idea in his mind. He wants that answer to come out. Then finally, the student does not write that answer. So he does not know whether he should fail the student or pass the student. He calls another professor, asks, what do we do with this student? They both ask the student, do you not know that there is a conventional answer for this? I have not given you a stone. I have given you a barometer. There is something, a clue hidden here in the barometer that I have given you. Then he says, I do not want to think conventionally. Okay? That was the answer from that young boy who was later a great scientist. He was Niels Bohr. Okay? So we have a great minds all around us. There's only a question is, be positive. We get lost usually, nothing can happen. This is a typical statement every youngster talks. Unless you take anything and passionately, nothing can happen. The passion is important, and believe in yourself. I can again tell you an example from my own field in which I have worked. I have worked in a field called quasi-crystals. There is a great guy in 1982, for the first time, saw in an electron microscope a particular material showing a diffraction pattern, which is significantly different from what people used to see until then. People were always defining materials as either crystals or amorphous. First time he saw something new. He called it as quasi-crystal. Nobody believed him. His own supervisor, postdoc supervisor, he said, you are bringing disgrace to our group, please leave. And that postdoc supervisor is one of the stalwarts in material science by name John Kahn. And this gentleman by name is Dan Shetman. He did not give up. Okay, he started working hard and went to some mathematicians to ask, I'm seeing this kind of a diffraction pattern. I'm seeing it in front of my eyes. So it is not a dream for me. It must be something really there inside the material. Then finally, they proved that if atoms are not periodically arranged inside materials, if they are quasi-periodically arranged, okay, you must have heard of Fibonacci sequence, for example, where the distances between any spots can change by adding up the two previous numbers, right? That is called Fibonacci sequence. Okay, so if atoms are arranged in such a fashion, then the diffraction that is a pattern that is taken by exciting a beam on that material will give you a special diffraction pattern, which will give you what is called a 5-fold diffraction pattern, which was never known by people. Then the whole crystallography field opened up. The crystallographers, the International Society for Crystallography, started defining what a crystal in a new fashion now. But why I have to tell you this is, 6 years before this, Dan Shetman published his paper in 1984. In 1978, a group of students published a paper in 1978 from Banaras Hindu University, again showing a 5-fold diffraction pattern from a material. But then again, their own supervisor did not believe them. Okay, he's again a great scientist, no more now. I do not want to give that name, but he didn't believe this. He said there's nothing like this exists. Okay, the existing knowledge does not accept it, because we always go by existing knowledge. Unfortunately, we have a baggage that we all carry, and if you are bringing something new, it is not easy for anybody to accept. So as a result, in India, once your guide tells you, guide is Acharya Devo Bhava. That's it. So you cannot question. So these students did not pursue that matter very seriously, did not believe in themselves. That is what I would say. Okay. And finally, we lost a Nobel Prize. This gentleman, Dan Schittman, in 2012, got a Nobel Prize for this new discovery, what is called constitution. So this is something that I tell to students: believe in yourself. Okay, question yourself, and then once you are confident that what your idea is good, try to pursue it with all your energy, with all your passion, and definitely great things will happen. And that can only come when you have self-confidence on yourself, okay, rather than simply believing anybody else. So these are a few, I think, thoughts from my experience that I can share with you. And with that, thank you very much for this opportunity, and all the best to all of you. If you have any questions, I can take up a few questions. Maybe Vinamr, you can ask if they have questions to put it in the chat box. Maybe you can read out that for me.
Yes, sir. So the first question is, how do you believe that this digital transformation that we are seeing right now will affect and benefit academics in our country?
Correct. See, there are 2 points why I strongly feel engineering education at least should be a hybrid mode, because engineering is hands-on. Okay, engineering is not simply getting an engineering degree. You have to be an engineer. That's very important. There are so many times we keep on hearing people only have an engineering degree, but they are not an engineer. How many mechanical engineers can open their scooter and then reassemble it? You can check it for yourself. Okay, so this is what is important, and that can only happen when you do hands-on. Right now, for example, at IIT Hyderabad, we have ensured that every course will have a lab associated with it. Okay, and the lab is done by the student himself or herself rather than a demo. So we are slowly scrapping all the demos and making sure that it is actually a hands-on. This making it hands-on in an online mode is to some extent possible, but not in every. Certain branches, it is possibly easy. For example, in computer science, in IT, it may be easier, but in certain fields like material science, or some fields like mechanical engineering or civil engineering, maybe it is not so easy. So wherever it is needed, okay, you have to have that hands-on included into the curriculum. That basically means you cannot avoid, you cannot have completely a virtual universities, okay, where you don't need to meet anybody. Okay, this is one aspect. The second aspect is there is a lot that you learn by meeting teachers. For example, if I have become a teacher, it was thanks to the great teachers I have come across in my life and interacted with them, got inspired by them. This somehow, I don't know to what extent online can bring you. Okay, because online you are in touch with that person only for that 1 hour or so. And many a times you would notice that in an online teaching, very rarely anybody asks a question. Okay, it is more like a monologue rather than a dialogue. So whereas in a regular class there is a possibility of that. So it's even if it is not a regular class, at least you have a chance to meet him beyond the class hours and be able to interact. Also, more importantly, there is also what is called peer learning. You learn from your own friends a lot in the hostels. Okay, all of you possibly whoever have joined at least 1 year before the pandemic would have known how much you learn from your friends. Okay, and these are certain things which I feel the so-called digital learning cannot promise to a large extent. People are trying their best, no doubt about it, and all the efforts are being done to ensure can we convert a regular physical labs into a virtual labs. Okay, so people are putting a lot of effort in that direction, but I would see that if you can have digital learning with a reasonable amount of time where you physically stay with the teachers, and with your peers. There's a lot to learn. But at the same time, this has a lot of power, that it is able to take people. But then there are two additional problems specifically to India, I would say. That's what I keep on telling to people, that, for example, there are many students who cannot afford a laptop, which is like for 50,000 or so. There has to be somehow, our technology should ensure that we bring down the prices of laptop to a much lower level. Okay, to about maybe 5,000 or something like that, so that the basic versions are available for students. Now, the moment you make everything digital, the student cannot do everything with a mobile. It's not so easy. So that is one. The second thing is network. I have students who tell me, for example, there are students who are in Jammu and Kashmir. They say that their speed is 64 kbps. That's it. They cannot get anything beyond that. And how much you can ensure at that speed you will be able to convey to the student, where in a city like Hyderabad or possibly even Lucknow, you get 100 mbps without much difficulty. Okay, so where is 64 kbps, where is 100 mbps? And there may be a lot of villages where the similar problem exists. We should be able to give a good network connectivity throughout the country, and that should be a next mission for the whole country. How do we take a high quality bandwidth provided to every nook and corner of the country? Okay, so this is something which I think should be a major mission. The way I have told you, engineering in local language as one mission, this can be another mission. So providing this, enabling this digital technology to be able to be taken to every corner of the country is again a big mission, and people have to do that. When that can happen in the next 5 years or so, definitely digital education will have a long reach, and I'm sure a lot of people get benefited. We have difficulties. We start providing somehow free laptops to some of our own economically backward students, economically weaker students, and also provide some package. Even if you want to provide money to a student to buy a good bandwidth, but the bandwidth may not work in that village in which he is in or she is in. So money cannot solve that problem. Okay, the technology only can solve the problem. So we have to, the 5G that we are talking about in IIT Hyderabad, there is a lot of work happening on the 5G. We have one Professor 𝐁𝐿 who is a leader in the country on the 5G, and some of his inventions have been taken up worldwide in transforming the world in terms of wireless communication. So that is another area where people have to. There is one area which enables digital transformation in a big way, is making people enable the network capability, high quality network capability, to be able to be made available at every nook and corner of the country. I think if we can do that, what you said, Vinamr, is definitely going to be possible.
So, anything you would like to add to this?
Whom you are asking, Professor 𝐁𝐿? Yeah.
So your mic is muted, sir.
Sorry. So thanks a lot, Professor Murthy. And, all these students, even myself, we are doing a lot of things at IIIT Lucknow as well. And recently we started Innovation Center in collaboration with IIT Kanpur.
Wonderful.
And as far as the use of technology is concerned, in this pandemic period, we started fully online MBA program in digital business.
Very good, very good.
And as you mentioned that, there is a gap between industry and academia, and we are trying to bridge that gap with the help of technology. So we are continuously inviting industry experts as well to deliver full course or half course depending upon their availability. So if you will see our faculty profile, more than 50% faculty members are from the industry.
Very good. Wonderful. That's the
That
best way.
model we developed at IIIT Lucknow, because there is a difference between Hyderabad and Lucknow. At Hyderabad, there are so many industries, but at Lucknow, that is the constraint. But with the help of technology, I think we can, solve this problem.
Solve this problem. Overcome it.
Summary of your talk is, this is the time to think out of the box. And my message to our students is, do something different, do something innovative. There is no need to follow the traditional approach. And our strength is we have a huge population of young people in India. And India was the Vishwaguru, and again we will be the Vishwaguru. And with the help of our young people, and their approach is really different. And in new education policy, national education policy, now I think in a short period of time, things will be different. There is an option for multiple entry, multiple exit. 1 year you can learn in the face-to-face mode, then you can join the industry. Again, you can come back. So there are many things which are possible under new education policy. And you rightly said, in our present education system, the major barrier is the language barrier. Most of the textbooks are available in English, and providing this technical knowledge to rural people. If we can convert this study material or knowledge into the local language, then things will be much, much better. So thank you very much, Professor Murthy, for sparing
Thank
time.
you. Thank you very much.
Thanks
Thank
a
you.
lot.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. All the best to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for coming. Thank you, sir, for coming.
Bye-bye.
We hope that all of you had a great experience listening to these minds. Looking forward to see you again in the next session. Till then, a good fly from us.